In this twisted future, death has become entertainment. Millions watch The Running Man, a deadly game where prisoners fight to survive. Ben Richards holds his dying daughter, knowing he can't afford to save her. Desperate and broke, he walks into a trap he doesn't see coming. The government is watching. They always are. But Ben doesn't know they've already marked him. He enters a restricted zone crawling with armed police. Something feels wrong, but it's too late to turn back. When an officer provokes him, Ben snaps and makes a fatal mistake. In seconds, he's surrounded by officers armed with shock batons. They scan his face, recording every detail into the system. Ben has no idea he just signed his own death warrant. Now he's a prisoner, trapped with inmates who've lost all hope. They're forced to train like athletes, but this isn't for sports. Ben realizes the horrifying truth. He's being prepared to run for his life. The brutal training pushes them to their limits as prisoners collapse from exhaustion. Meanwhile, another inmate barely escapes drowning as water floods the underground tunnels. Ben saves a fellow prisoner from falling to his death during the deadly obstacle course. The man he rescued becomes his first ally in this nightmare. A government agent approaches Ben with an offer he can't refuse. The prisoners are given colored uniforms, each one representing a different fate. They put on the clothes, not knowing what they truly mean. Guards demonstrate their weapons by blowing apart a watermelon with brutal force. Alone in his cell, Ben clutches his daughter's tiny sock, his only reason to survive. A mysterious inmate confronts Ben, tension rising between them on the upper level. They sit down to talk, and Ben learns the terrifying truth about the game. With no other choice, Ben signs the contract that will seal his fate. Furious and betrayed, he storms out knowing there's no turning back. A grizzled officer pulls Ben aside to reveal crucial information about surviving. In a heartbreaking phone call, Ben tells his wife he's entering The Running Man. Ben drowns his fear in alcohol, knowing what's coming next. He stares at photos of his family, the only thing worth fighting for. They lock a tracking device on his wrist. The countdown has begun. A slick host in a white suit appears to explain the rules. The crowd goes wild as the host dances across the stage like this is just a game. The show's producer approaches Ben with a sinister smile. The host performs for the screaming audience, whipping them into a frenzy. Guards chain Ben's hands as the reality sinks in. The host announces Rule 1, and Ben's blood runs cold. Rule 2 makes it even worse. Rule 3 seals his doom. Ben and two other prisoners stand on stage in chains, displayed like animals. Suddenly, Ben drops through a trap door, plunging into darkness below. He hits the ground running in the underground maze. Ben sprints up a staircase, hunters already on his trail. He hijacks a taxi, desperate to escape the arena. Ben meets a brilliant engineer who might be his only chance. They talk in the engineer's workshop, planning something dangerous. Ben checks into a hotel room and locks the door behind him. He opens a mysterious box filled with devices labeled by day numbers. Exhausted, Ben collapses on the bed watching the news coverage. The TV shows his mugshot and fabricated crimes, turning the nation against him. Ben sleeps, but someone silently enters his room with a gun. He wakes to find an assassin in a hat standing over him. Ben checks a fake ID card numbered 313. Terror strikes when he discovers a bomb planted in his room. From the window, Ben spots gang members gathering outside a liquor store. He watches a mysterious figure in a hat and coat approaching. A black car pulls up, and Ben knows they've found him. As the door opens, Ben hides in the bathroom with only a towel. From the rooftop, Ben watches the black sedan circle below. He ties a rope and begins his desperate descent down the building. Ben rushes back inside to grab his bag before escaping. Halfway down the rope, a hunter spots him from the street. Ben hurls the bomb at the suited attacker who kicks it back. The bomb detonates in a massive fireball. Ben lights paper to see in the pitch-black underground tunnels. Above him, the bookstore erupts in flames. The entire building explodes in a devastating blast. Ben frantically presses a device showing his face on the screen. A small boy on a bicycle rides toward a manhole cover. Ben grabs the kid, pulling him into a dark corner. The news broadcasts the explosion with Ben's face plastered across every channel. Ben meets with the boy and another man in a grimy bar. The TV above them declares him public enemy #1 on the running man. On stage, the show's crew holds a candlelight vigil, pretending Ben is already dead. Ben's allies smuggle him out in a car trunk. The trunk opens and gunfire erupts as Ben barely dodges the bullets. Ben and his friend pull over, arguing at the side of the road. Ben's wanted face flashes on every screen across the city. A mysterious man in a black suit walks through the shadows. Ben hides in the crowd wearing a mask as protesters chant his name. He arrives at a safe house begging a stranger for help. The man's terrified mother recognizes Ben from TV. Ben hears footsteps outside and realizes they've been found. His ally grabs an electric gun, ready to defend them. He fires, taking down the attackers with precision shots. Ben and his friend escape through the underground tunnels. Ben fights a hostile stranger they encounter in the darkness. They steal a car and crash through a garage door. A hunter's vehicle blocks the road ahead while a helicopter closes in from behind. Ben and the enemy driver face off, racing toward each other head-on. Ben escapes to a new city, studying a map while hiding in the wilderness. He stands beside a billboard, surveying the sprawling metropolis below. Exhausted, Ben takes shelter inside an abandoned structure. He hallucinates, seeing a vision of kissing his wife one last time. Ben lies on the cold floor, broken and losing hope. He reaches a highway, his last chance to flee. Ben forces a random woman at gunpoint to let him into her car. He screams at her to drive faster as sirens wail behind them. An armada of FBI vehicles pursues them down the highway. The single car races down the empty road, surrounded by enemies. Ahead, soldiers block the highway with a barricade. But thousands of protesters flood the streets chanting, "Richard's lives!" The police captain speaks to Ben over a loudspeaker. Ben grabs a microphone and shouts back his defiance. Amazingly, the crowd forces the police to let them pass. Ben comes face to face with a masked officer. Now aboard a small plane, Ben talks urgently with the pilot. The plane climbs higher into dangerous skies. Suddenly, Ben and another passenger pull guns on each other. A woman on the plane begs them to stop fighting. Ben watches the TV screen as the host taunts him from the studio. The footage shows the host's men attacking Ben's wife at their home. The laptop displays the Running Man logo mocking him. The pilot watches the news declaring Ben a terrorist. One pilot secretly draws a weapon, planning to kill Ben. Ben fires first, the gunshot echoing through the cabin. He fights the other pilot in brutal close combat. Ben kills the pilot in self-defense. The assassin rips out his own prosthetic eye, revealing hidden technology. Ben battles the cyborg in a desperate fight. The violent struggle continues as the plane shakes. A woman grabs a parachute and jumps from the crashing aircraft. The host appears on screen again, gloating about Ben's inevitable death. The plane's controls move on their own, autopilot driving it toward disaster. The aircraft crashes in a fiery explosion. Everyone assumes Ben is dead. The TV shows Ben's picture with "deceased" written across it. But Ben's wife spots him in the distance, alive and wearing a mask. She runs to him with their son, tears streaming down her face. Back at the studio, the audience raises "Richard's Lives" banners in rebellion. The crowd hurls fire onto the stage. The revolution has begun. Rioters storm the stage as flames consume everything. The evil producer lies on the floor, beaten and defeated. Through the smoke and fire, Ben appears like a ghost. He points his gun directly at the producer's head. The two men lock eyes and Ben prepares to pull the trigger.